Are you sure you're free? What else would I be doing?
Hey YouTube, this is Jeff, aka 11 Bronson, back today with another collection video similar in style to the one I did on Cynthia Rothrock a few weeks ago. Today we're covering Dolph Lundgren movies, all the movies that I have in my collection. We're sort of going to go through his filmography a little bit. When there's a film that I don't have, I will mention and the year it's from, and I will go through the timeline from his very first film to, well, the last one that I have in my collection anyway. And yeah, now that I finally got my Dolph Lundgren autograph and my good buddy Carlos Eastwood for Life fan got for me at the London Film and Comic Con last year, I got it framed, so there will be a bit of glare. Hopefully it'll come up there. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren's signature, and he added the Drago to it, which apparently, again, we've all heard the story from Carlos and Dan. Dolph wasn't in the best of moods when he did this, when he appeared at the convention this day, and well, he didn't want to personalize anything, but I mean, he still added that Drago bit, which again, it's a nice touch. But yeah, that's my Dolph Lundgren signed picture, which I got framed, and in my movie room I display it next to my Rocky IV poster. So let's get into Dolph's filmography. First, I'm going to show this because it's a bit tricky to remember to go back to this box set every time a film of it gets mentioned. But I have this Dolph Lundgren, well, not really a box set, but a little collection of 6 movies. Yeah, 6. Direct Contact, which is from 2009. I'm cheating. I got his IMDb filmography here. That's from 2009. It has Icarus from 2010. The Package from when was the package? 2012. Blood of Redemption from 2013. Skin Trade from 2014, and Shark Lake from, I'm gonna go for 2015. Yeah, it is 2015. So yeah, 6 movies in this little Dolph Lundgren collection from the late 2000s to the mid 2010s, I guess. Not really many fantastic movies in this collection. My favorites would probably be Direct Contact, Icarus. Icarus probably would be my favorite. And I do like Skin Trade. I think the packages with him and, oh, the discs don't have any art, but I think the packages with him and Steve Austin, which was, but yeah, I just wanted to show this because otherwise I would have to keep coming back to this little collection. So there it is, 6 movies for the price of 1. Yeah, the best ones in there are definitely Icarus and Skin Trade. Those are really good, solid, straight-to-video Dolph Lundgren movies. So now we're gonna go through his filmography in career order. So yeah, I done something I don't usually do. I also got the Rocky movies from my Stallone collection. I got the Expendables movies from my Stallone collection. I got the Universal Soldier from my Van Damme collection, because he's in them, and I do want to list them as they are part of his career, even though I don't consider him the main star of those movies, and especially not in the first movie we show, because he made his first appearance in a James Bond film from 1985, A View to a Kill. Very, very minor background role. He doesn't even have dialogue, but he is, once you know he's there, you will spot him, and he's definitely, he stands out if you're aware of it, if that makes sense. But yeah, he got the role because, of course, at the time he was dating Grace Jones. Grace Jones appeared in the film, so she got him a small part in it. So anyway, very minor. He was a KGB agent in the background, like I said. Definitely his next role would be a career-defining one, and the big one in Rocky IV. Got my Rocky 4K collection out for this one. So yeah, he's in the 4th Rocky installment as, of course, Ivan Drago, the career-defining role. The role that really made him famous and made him a household name. Even though his next movie wasn't a big success after that, because in 1987 he would star in Masters of the Universe, a Canon Films disaster, flop. I mean, this film, they spent a lot of money on it, but they it was one of the big failures for Canon Films, and it really hurt the company. But it's actually not a bad film. I mean, yes, it's takes a lot of liberties from the original, source material. Of course, the toy line and stuff, and the cartoon show of He-Man and whatever. But I like it. It's good, silly, campy, goofy fun. I get why it failed. I get why people didn't like it, but I still like it nonetheless, if that makes sense. His next movie in 1988 would be Red Scorpion. I do hate this cover on the DVD because it's a more recent picture of Dolph. Even on the back, it's a more recent picture of Dolph. It makes you think it's a more modern action movie instead of an 80s one. But this is definitely a product of the 80s. This is pretty much Dolph's Rambo movie, pretty much. They actually have stills in the movie where he's way younger and stuff, and it's like, wait, he's old here and he's young there, yeah. But yeah, this came out around the time of the Expendables, I guess. I guess they wanted to be like, hey, people recognize this face from the Expendables and not his young face or whatever, but yeah. Anyway, in the same year, or was that the next year? It was the next year, 1989, would be another cult classic for Dolph, The Punisher. Yes. I am not a comic book fan, as people might know. I'm not a Marvel fan. I'm not necessarily a Punisher fan, but I love this movie with Dolph. It's probably my favorite Marvel film because their name is there, Marvel, yeah. So yeah, it's my favorite Marvel film, yeah. The Punisher, 1989, fantastic action. Yeah, I love it. With also Luis Gossett Jr., who would appear with Dolph a few years later, which we're gonna get to. Anyway, next film for Dolph is another one that people always rate highly. People consider it either his best or one of his best. And it is from 1990, Dark Angel, aka I Come in Peace, directed by Craig R. Baxley, also with the legendary Matthias Hughes, fantastic bad guy, and I've had the pleasure of talking to him in person a few times on a live stream. Thanks to my good buddy Gareth, Video Tasties. Yeah, this is a fantastic action movie. The explosions in this are top notch. The action is top notch. Craig R. Baxley did some fantastic action movies in this period. He did Stone Cold, and he did Action Jackson as well. This guy knew how to do action. It's, yeah, fantastic. Love it. Absolutely love it. It's definitely a career highlight for Dolph. It's one of his best movies. Coincidentally, I should plug, I might do, or I think I will. There's no might involved there, but I will do a Dolph Lundgren top 10 after this video, probably at some point. Maybe a week later or whatever, but there will be a Dolph Lundgren top 10 for me coming as well. Anyway, his next film, also in, this was 1991, all right. Again, they use a more modern picture, and of course, they put Expendables on it. This came out around the time of the Expendables when it was popular and hot. So yeah, they put out a couple of action movies from some of the stars in the Expendables and, cash in, I guess. But yeah, Cover Up from 1991, again, reteaming with Luis Gossett Jr. And it seems like an action film and stuff, but it's more of a thriller, I would say, more of a slow burn movie. I was slightly disappointed with this one. It could have been better. I don't hate it. I don't consider it like Dolph's worst or whatever, but it could have been better for me. It could have been more action, and yeah, it's something a little bit different, but he more than made up for it in the same year. Yeah, this is 1991 for the awesome action epic Showdown in Little Tokyo. I've made it no secret that this is probably my personal favorite Dolph Lundgren movie. I absolutely love everything about Showdown in Little Tokyo. It's an hour and 15 minutes, right? It's, yeah, approximately 76 minutes, so yeah, hour 15, hour 16 minutes. Dolph Lundgren, Brandon Lee taking down the Yakuza in a very, very short time span. It's action all the way through, non-stop. I love it, absolutely love it. It's such an underrated action film. It's just holding the cover again makes me want to watch it again. Anyway, the next year would be a big team up again for Dolph Lundgren, and a big box office success once again, when he co-starred with Jean-Claude Van Damme in Universal Soldier, directed by Roland Emmerich. And yeah, great sci-fi action, deals with soldiers from the war being regenerated, essentially being like zombies, and maybe a little bit of cyborg elements in there a little bit as well, because obviously this came out after the huge success of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. So there's a little robotics as well thrown in there to cash in. But what a wonderful action film this is. It's one of my all-time favorites as well. But I have to say, as great as Dolph is in this one, where there he is, I always have this in my Van Damme collection, because people aren't going to say Universal Soldier is a Dolph movie. They're always going to say it's a Van Damme movie. That's why. But Dolph is without doubt a big part of it. So yeah, that was a big success for Dolph. And the next year he did another one of my personal favorites. He did Joshua Tree. Yeah, sadly this one also didn't get a big release. It didn't really break box office records, or was a big hit with the critics or whatever. But I absolutely love Joshua Tree, directed by Vic Armstrong, stunt coordinator, worked on the Bond films, worked on the Indiana Jones films. He's a legend. And the action in this one is again top notch. And yeah, this is without doubt one of my all-time favorites of Dolph. Alternate title I should point out, as I still have my Australian DVD, Army of One. I do prefer the Army of One title because it sounds more like an action movie. With Joshua Tree, it's like, okay, what's this movie about? But Army of One is definitely, I think, my preferred title. It sounds more like an action flick, which is of course what it is. So yeah. So the next movie he did was Pentathlon in 1994, but sadly I don't own a copy of that one yet. It doesn't have a high rating on IMDb, but then again, none of these movies really have a huge, high rating. But I do have to get Pentathlon. So if that's a film that any of you have seen and you recommend, please let me know, because it is on my list. I will get it eventually. But anyway, the next film that I have is from 1994, and it's another great one, a very underrated one, Men of War. It's a cool cover. It's another sort of mercenary film where Dolph is a mercenary going out to fight a war. It's yeah, this is a great one. Expect this one to be in the top 10 as well, because I really was blown away with this film. This is really action packed, and it has a great story to boot as well. It's definitely another highlight. And then the next film he did was as a supporting role in Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves. Sadly, I don't have that film either, but I have seen it, and it's a pretty good film, and it's a cool role that Dolph plays. But again, he's not the main lead in that film. Next film that I have is from 1995, and it's The Shooter, which I think also has a different title, which I just can't think of it at this moment. But yeah, The Shooter, directed by Ted Kotcheff, who did First Blood. And also the great film with Gene Hackman, Uncommon Valor. Yeah, great director. Not the best movie, this one, I have to admit, but I did not mind it too much. I still had fun with it. It's a bit like a political thriller sort of thing. It's pretty decent. I recommend it. Next film that I have is, and yeah, the next film that came in is filmography, is from 1996. It's another cool little underrated action film, and it's Silent Trigger. Yes, this is another cool one where Dolph Lundgren is pretty much like a sniper. It's a lot of sniping action, which is we don't see it all too often. We see it more often nowadays, but yeah, pretty cool. Again, this is a pretty underrated one. This is directed by Russell Mulcahy. Great director, and great director, and yeah, the scenes are well done, and a cool action scene and stuff. And I like it. It's another one I definitely recommend. So next up we come to 1997, the year I was born, and he did another very underrated movie in this year. The Peacekeeper, which is again straight to video, but it's a really decent one. Also with the great Roy Scheider in this one. Yeah, this is one of the earliest ones I've seen of his, outside of the Rocky and the Expendables films and stuff. And I've always liked this film, so this is definitely a recommendation if you guys haven't seen it. The Peacekeeper. It has some nice action scenes, a little over the top scenes as well. But you know what, I do really rate this one pretty highly. It is one I really enjoy. Let's see, next up he did two films I don't have. as I'm looking at his IMDb filmography again. Yeah, he did the TV movie Blackjack, which I think is directed by John Woo, which has a lot of terrible reviews, and people say, you know, avoid like the plague. And if I can track it down somewhere, I'll probably will one day to add it to the collection, but I'm not in a rush. And then he did a film called Dominion as well in 1998, which I've never seen, never even seen a trailer or whatever for. I know nothing about that one. So if anybody knows anything, please let me know. And then we have a couple of films I do have yet again, and some great ones, some more underrated ones for me as well. And in 1998, this film came out, and it looks like Dolph's Indiana Jones film with the way he's dressed. But the film is Sweepers. It's about mines. It's about, you know, landmines, sweeping landmines, you know, clearing landmine fields and old, you know, war zones and stuff. And there's some really fantastic action in this one. I think it's one of the first films directed by Keanu Waxman, who uses an alias on this one. But Keanu Waxman is more known for doing tons of Steven Seagal straight-to-video films, which of course are of lesser quality, definitely lesser than this one in my opinion. This is a really great one. Some fantastic action scenes in there, and yeah, it deals with landmines, so there's going to be explosions as well. It's fantastic. Then in 1999, he did another sort of weird film, but I do like it. I really like it and recommend it. It's a Bridge of Dragons, with him re-teaming with Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. Yeah, that's the best effort I can give it. Yeah, of course, he was the bad guy in Showdown Little Tokyo. He's shockingly the bad guy in this one again. We have Bridge of Dragons. It's they say here it's an action sci-fi. I don't really know what the sci-fi is. I mean, it takes place in like this sort of futuristic, apocalyptic sort of world. Maybe that would be, but yeah, it's an interesting one, but some really fantastic action scene in this, and I would say this is another underrated one, as well as the next one here, also from 1999, Stormcatcher. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the title of Stormcatcher, but it's actually a pretty decent kick-ass action film, directed by Anthony Hickox, who recently passed away. He's, for me, most known for directing the terrible Submerged with Steven Seagal, which is not his fault, I should add. I mean, not Anthony Hickox's fault, it is definitely Seagal's fault, but yeah. Stormcatcher, again, another pretty good one. Recommend it if you haven't seen it. And then let's see. Next up, he did Jill Rips, aka Jill the Ripper or something, which is, I've been told, a very terrible one, but it is one I will add to my collection. I've seen a trailer for it. It looks okay. If I can track a copy down, I will add it to my collection. And then next up is, sadly, a terrible one that I do have, even though this one should have been better than it was. The Last Patrol with Dolph Lundgren, directed by Sheldon Lettich again. Sheldon Lettich, I've talked to him thanks to Gareth Video Tasties. He's interviewed him. Sheldon Lettich, great guy. He directed Double Impact. He directed AWOL, aka Lionheart, aka Wrong Bet, etc., etc. He wrote the script for Bloodsport. He did writing duties. He performed writing duties on Rambo 3. Yeah, this film should have been way better, but it's really terrible. I think this one is shot in Israel, if I'm not mistaken, or Jerusalem. I think so. I could be wrong, but I think so. And yeah, not a good one. Sadly, this was definitely one that I would put in the lower tier Dolph Lundgren films. Then next up, another film that I don't own yet and I haven't seen yet, and I've heard it's pretty terrible. Agent Red from 2000. Yeah, I've heard it's not good. I do own the next 3 films that he did, so here we go for 2001's Hidden Agenda. Again, another straight-to-video film. I think this one, yeah, he has his hair more darker than usual, maybe a bit similar to Dark Angel, where he also had dark hair, but yeah, this is sort of like Dolph's Eraser, if you can believe that, sort of about him as a government guy who erases people's identities and witness protection and stuff like that. It deals with that sort of plot. So a Razor ripoff, I would say, maybe a little bit, but not a bad one. I enjoyed it. I had fun with that one. And that's one people slate and people hate as a straight-to-video film, but I actually thought it was really good. Detention. Pretty much Die Hard in a high school. Yes, we even went that far with the Die Hard concept. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren is a teacher. It's his last day before retirement, and then terrorists come to a school and hold him and a class of students hostage, pretty much. There is, of course, an explanation for it. It's not like they just willy-nilly go into a random high school or whatever, but it is pretty much Die Hard in a high school. So yeah, make it out what you will, but I had fun with this concept. I enjoyed it. I mean, believe me, we are going to get even more ridiculous with the Die Hard concept in a film that Dolph has done a bit later on. Next up, this is a fantastic film, probably one of my favorite of his straight-to-video films. From 2004, this is direct action. Yes, this is where Dolph battles corrupt cops. He gets betrayed. It's double cross. It's still a B movie. It's still a straight-to-video B movie, but this is so epic, so awesome. I mean, yeah, this is on the level as Van Damme's Wake of Death would be, or Van Damme's Until Death. Those two films I consider his best straight-to-video work of the 2000s. This would probably be the equivalent for Dolph, this film here, direct action. I absolutely love this one. Then next up, he did two movies which I don't own, shockingly. Well, I own more than I don't own, I think, but Dolph has done a lot of films even, you know, where he even just pops up for a small bit. But next film, 2004, Fat Slacks. Never heard of it, and I think he's a very small part in that one. Then he did Retrograde, yeah, from 2004, which I think is more sci-fi. It is one I've seen on Blu-ray on Amazon Germany. I will pick it up to add to the collection, but I'm not keeping my hopes up for that one. It has a 3.1 on my IMDb, but not that says anything, because this next film, which I think is excellent once again, has a 4.8, but this is a cool one. This is on a double bill with a Van Damme film. We are, of course, covering this one here. The Defender with Dolph Lundgren, also with, what's his name? Jerry Springer is in this one. Yeah, here's The Defender. I think this one is directed by Dolph. Could be wrong there, but I think that was Dolph Lundgren's first film that he was in, that he directed. It doesn't say here on the back, but I'm pretty damn sure that The Defender is Dolph Lundgren's first directorial film as well. But that is another good one. I do enjoy that one. Again, if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. And this one was actually pretty decent as well, even though I was at first put off by the title, because it's almost a similar title as one of my favorite Charles Bronson films, The Mechanic. Yeah, we just changed one letter and it's The Mechanik, because he's a Russian Spetsnaz killing fighting machine specialist, whatever you want to call it. But you know what, not a bad action film at that. It's pretty damn decent. Some good acting from Dolph. I don't know if he directed this one. He could have. Again, it doesn't say here on the back. Oh, here it says on the front. Oh, you probably can't make that out, but it says they're directed by Dolph Lundgren, so he directed this film yet again. I think he did directing duties on the next one that I have, but before that he did a film called The Inquiry, which again is a total puzzle to me. It's not even on the poster from the looks of it. So, but the next film he did is Diamond Dogs, which I do have here, which is credited to somebody else. Yes, Samuel Dolasha, but I think Dolph did some directing on it, uncredited. But yeah, Diamond Dogs, sort of like an adventure film, more, I would say. Okay, it's an okay film. Yeah, it could have been way better. Next film is one that he directed, and sadly, the enjoyment of it is soured because of the terrible color grading on it. It looks piss yellow. It looks almost black and white at times. The color grading for this film is really fucked up. It's again directed by Dolph. I hope one day he can put it out the way, you know, it's supposed to be. But it is Missionary Man, which is pretty much a updated version of Pale Rider, in which this is pretty much like Clint Eastwood's Pale Rider, but instead in the Old West, and he's a preacher. He's now a biker preacher, who's riding into this town as a stranger with no pass and stuff. And it's actually a really good film. It's actually really well directed and stuff, but the damn color grading, the transfer of it really puts it down. So I hope Dolph will one day put this film out and color correct it the way it should be and stuff. And yeah, Missionary Man, watch it at your own peril, I would say, because yeah, the colors is terrible, the transfer look. Yeah, next up was one that I showed in that box set earlier, Direct Contact. So I've showed you that one. And then he did, and here we go with another awesome Die Hard concept. Die Hard at a rockers concert, at a rock concert. Yes, that's what happens in Command Performance. It is Die Hard at a rock concert. Dolph Lundgren plays the drummer of the band, while terrorists, of course, come to the arena where the concert is being held, and yeah, Dolph is the man who takes them all down, of course. And it's really, it sounds silly, but it's really a terrific action film. This is yet again directed by Dolph Lundgren himself as well. So there you go. I do recommend that one a lot, especially if you like the Die Hard scenario in films. If you like that scene, if you like that being, sort of played out in the craziest way. Well, Die Hard at a rock concert, that almost beats Die Hard at an ice hockey stadium with Van Damme, doesn't it? So yeah. So after that, he went back to the Universal Soldier franchise series. He did miss out on the second Universal Soldier film, but this one in 2008, he came back for Universal Soldier Regeneration, again reteaming with Van Damme. Yeah, none of the Universal Soldier sequels are really great in my opinion. Definitely not on the level of the first one. The first one is always going to be the best. But there were some solid action sequences in this one, and I did enjoy it overall. So, yeah, I don't own the next one, by the way, the Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning, but we're gonna get there. I don't own that one, sadly. I have been told that's another good one, and I do want to check it out, but I just haven't got around to it yet. So yeah, that brings us, I think, to yeah. Then the next one is Icarus, which again is in that box set, in that collection, and then he would join forces with Sylvester Stallone and an all-star cast in the first Expendables from 2010, including, Statham, Randy Couture, Steve Austin, Jet Li, Terry Crews, Mickey Rourke, Bruce Willis, Arnold, of course. Arnold! He had a little cameo in this one. Yeah, the Expendables. I love the first Expendables film. I especially prefer this director's cut that's on this Blu-ray disc here, the extended horror cut, extended director's cut. This is for me the way to watch the film. Yeah, what can I say? The Expendables, I love it. I do prefer the second one, but we're gonna get there. Just a few mentions away. He next appeared in a TV series called Chuck. He did an episode of that. He then did a film called In the Name of the King, Two Worlds something. The full title doesn't show up. He then was in a film called Small Apartments. Again, all these projects are unknown to me. He then did a film called Stash House, which I have seen a Blu-ray release of, so I'm gonna get that. Then he did Last Bullet, or One More in the Chamber with Cuba Gooding Jr. I've seen the trailer for that one, looks okay. But then he returned to the Expendables series with the second installment. Yeah, and again, yeah, this is my favorite Expendables movie, Expendables 2. Look at that lineup right there. I mean, Arnold, Stallone, Chuck Norris, Van Damme, Bruce Willis, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren. Man, what a fantastic. Randy Couture, Terry Crews. I can't miss out on those guys. But yeah, fantastic movie. I love the action. This one. The only thing that always bothered me about all the Expendables films is the CGI blood. But yeah. And obviously Expendables 4, and I won't even watch that. I know that has Dolph in it as well, but yeah. Let's see, before I go to Expendables 3, which is the next one that I have. Then he did Universal Soldier Day of Reckoning. Then he did The Package, which again I have in a collection. Legendary, Battle of the Damned, Ambushed, Blood of Redemption I have in a collection. Certain Justice. He did episodes of a TV series called SAF Free. Never heard of it. Then he did. He reprised the role of Gunner once again in the Expendables 3. Nice little lenticular. Blah, it's a mouthful. Cover. He's not even on the cover, sadly, but yeah, Expendables 3, the extended harder cut, I should add. This is yeah, the extended version. I think we can all agree after Expendables 4, which again I still haven't even seen, but then I can still make that statement. I think we can all agree Expendables 3 doesn't look that bad after Expendables 4. So yeah, I like Expendables 3. It's definitely my least favorite of the trilogy. Yes, trilogy, but still. Let's see, then he did Skin Trade, I have in a collection. He did an episode of Workaholics. He then did a film called Saints and Soldiers, War Pigs. I am familiar with that one, The Good, the Bad, and the Dead. Wonder where they got that title from. Shark Lake, again, I have in a collection. And he did a film called Riot, TV stuff, voice work. Oh yeah, Kindergarten Cop 2. Don't have that one. I probably will pick it up at some point, but I have seen it and I'm not too impressed with Kindergarten Cop 2. You cannot do better than Arnold. Dolph, come on. Let's see, Don't Kill It, Welcome to the Willets, Female Fight Club, Larceny. I have seen Larceny on Netflix once. It's not a bad one. I'll have to pick it up. Where's the next one that I have? Oh, there we go, yeah. In 2017, he appeared, because it's not a Dolph Lundgren starring film by any means. He appeared in a Denise Richards straight-to-video action film. Yeah, I do that in quotations because it was terrible. Altitude, yeah. The least said about that one, the better. Probably my least favorite film Dolph Lundgren has appeared in, that of the films that I own anyway, if that makes sense. Let's see, he did a couple of episodes of the TV series Arrow, which I have watched back in the day. I did like the Arrow show, at least for a while. I think I tuned out about 6 or 7 seasons in, right around the time Dolph was coming into it, actually. Let's see. Oh, he was in Sharknado 5. Yeah. Oh, here we go. 2018. Now, this is a year. Again, I have a couple of films left. This is where I have a few of his films again. 2018, he teamed up with Jean-Claude Van Damme once again for probably the worst collaboration. Blackwater. Yes, this is absolutely terrible. A waste of both these guys. I mean, yeah, Van Damme is in it a lot, but Dolph is really, really wasted in it. I mean, they don't even share the screen until like the film is almost over, like an hour into it. So yeah, really a wasted opportunity. I mean, I watched this once, and am I gonna watch it again? The chances are not likely, but you never know. Maybe one day I'm like, I'm gonna give it another chance, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. I mean, this should have been awesome, you know, a film with the two of them teaming up, you know, not Dolph being the villain or Van Damme being the villain, just a team-up movie of both of them kicking ass. But that's what it was at the end, in the last like 10 minutes or whatever. But yeah, very, very disappointing. Next up, he returns to the character that made him famous once again. Once again for the first time since 1985, he played Ivan Drago once again in Creed 2, the second Creed movie. And yeah, there he is right there, back as Ivan Drago. I've seen this one in the cinema. I love Creed 2. It's not as good as Creed 1, but it certainly is better than Creed 3. Again, I will never watch Creed 3, but yeah, that I have my own personal reasons for that. Then next up, I also did see this one in cinema as well, coincidentally, because my mom is a fan of Jason Momoa. My mom really likes him, if you know what I mean. So for Christmas, I think in 2019, you know, I pretty much, you know, we took a family trip to the cinema to see Aquaman. I think it was on what was it actually, on Christmas Day, or was it on Boxing Day? Which I think it was on Christmas Day actually. But yeah, we all saw Aquaman on the big screen. Yeah, Dolph is in it. For me, that was the coolest thing to see Dolph on the big screen yet again. But yeah, I like the film. I mean, I haven't seen the sequel yet, which again Dolph is in as well, which I probably will get around to at some point. But yeah, and then the last film that I have from Dolph, let's just finish his filmography. After that, he did a film called The Tracker. He did an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He did a film called Acceleration, Hard Night Falling, SEAL Team. He did voice work on that one. Pups Alone. I think he also did voice work maybe there. Then the last film that I have from 2021, Castle Falls, which again is directed by Dolph himself with Scott Adkins co-starring, and it's a really, really decent film. I think of the films he directed, this might be my favorite. Either this one or Command Performance. This was a solid film, y'all. This is one that I do recommend for sure, Castle Falls. So yeah, let's finish his filmography up until this point. He then did a voice in Minions 2, Section 8. That is a film I still have to pick up as well. He did a film called Operation Seawolf, Come Out Fighting, The Best Man, Expendables 4, Showdown at the Grand, Aquaman 2, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and then the last film, which is released on Blu-ray, and I will probably pick it up, is a film called Wanted Man, which he also directed. Yes, directed by Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, Wanted Man. It has a 4.7 on IMDb, which for a straight-to-video film isn't the lowest score that I've seen so far. So I think it's going to be a decent one. And yeah, that makes 100 films that he has participated in. Previous films, 100. He has 4 films upcoming, and they are upcoming films: Malevolence, a TV series, The Witcher Rats spin-off series. Apparently he's going to be in a standalone film of Drago, a Drago spin-off film, which I think is definitely a strong rumor. I don't think that is in production. But then he is in post-production for a film called Hellfire. Let's see what that is. Oh, it doesn't have a plot kept under wraps, but it has Stephen Lang, Harvey Keitel, Scotty Thompson, Dolph Lundgren, and people I don't know. But it's directed by Isaac Florentine. I have heard of him. The director of Bridge of Dragons. There you go. So yeah, that's the career of Dolph Lundgren. And yeah, these, just to recap, are all the films we just went through that I have in my collection. Again, I've added the Expendables and Universal Soldiers and Rockies and stuff to this one from other collections. So yeah, this is all the films I have in my collection that Dolph appears in, or it's the star of, either one of the two. So yeah, there's still a lot to get. Like I said, he did 100 films so far, and yeah, I might come close, but I don't have 100 films yet of his. So we're gonna get there maybe one day. But yeah, there you go. That was my Dolph Lundgren collection overview so far of all the films I've done. Sort of go through them in career order. Yeah, I have my lovely Dolph autograph now with a cool picture of him as Drago. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. I'll probably, similar to what I did with Cynthia Rothrock, I will play a little tribute as well, or maybe I'll upload the tribute separately, tribute video of some clips and stuff. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed me going through the Dolph Lundgren films. Let me know some of your favorites down below in the comments as usual. Always great to hear that stuff. Always love talking movies and stuff, And yeah, stay tuned for the next one. Keep punching, and we will see you all very soon. Take care.